I am from Cameroon. I am a businessman in my country. I am a graduate from the university, especially from the Department of Law and Political Science. I graduated 2002. I struggled to get into public service to no avail because I come from the Anglophone part of the country, because we are actually marginalized. I struggled to get into the private sector, and I succeeded to have one. I worked, I served there for four years, but just because I was an Anglophone and the boss of that company was a Francophone, so I was ill-treated because the salary I had was not commensurate to the level of education I have achieved. That meant that salary could not fit my family and me, so I had to abandon. I left 2008, decided to get into business. I got into business and God blessed me. I had, finally at the end of the day, I had 2 stores and a bar, making 3 business sites. But in 2016, when this crisis started, I lost everything because most of my customers, my business was located around the school environment. Because when the crisis started, schools were closed. So obviously the customers that I was relying on were students, and they all left. What happened is that the products that I had in my store, in the 2 business sites, they got expired because we stayed in the house for long without going to the business site. They got all expired. Rats dealt with all those things. So finally, at the end of the day, I lost everything. I stayed in the house with my family for over 6 months without doing anything. I struggled again to open another business site, which I concentrated there with my wife. But it all happened that the crisis went to the states that the Southern Cameroon Defense Forces implemented a ghost town, which means that Monday was always respected as ghost town. There were some times that ghost town will hold for 3 consecutive days in a week.
What does ghost town mean?
Ghost town, therefore, people were stopped from, business places were not open, taxis, no activity on a particular day. It means the whole town is deserted. All places are deserted. People stay indoor, and if you move along the street, it's like you are around a graveyard where you don't find any person. Vehicles don't ply the road. All businesses are deserted, and everybody leaves the street. Even it was to the extent that civil servants were no longer going to work. But when the government realized that they were losing a lot and people were respecting but the Southern Cameroon Defense Forces rather than the government of Paul Biya, the government realized that they were respecting the Southern Cameroon Defense Forces and then decided that people should no longer respect ghost town. So those of us who were business people, we decided that if that is the case, the government, if you are saying that we should not respect ghost town, you have to provide us with you have to fulfill some conditions by providing enough security for us so that those security people will help to protect our businesses. And secondly, if something happens to a business, if a business site is destroyed, if my business is destroyed or burned down, the government should shoulder the responsibility of paying back, compensating me. But it all happened that the government rejected those proposals. So we were left on our own. We were bound to continue to respect ghost town. It happened that the day that was free for people to go to business site, that very morning we went to the business site and the government sent the military people to come and kill some of us because I only ran. People died. Since then, I left my country and I am here today.
How did you get out?
As it happened on that day, I ran, as I left my business site, I ran back to the house thinking that I was safe. When I got to the house, I stayed in the house until evening. But on the other, it happened that, I don't know what happened. It's just by God's grace that I was behind the house and my wife was in front of the house. Out of a sudden, I heard somebody saying, "Where's her husband? Where is her husband? He's a separatist, he's a terrorist." And I overheard my wife saying, "No, my husband is not, officer, my husband is not a separatist. My husband is not a terrorist." So when I got that, I knew that they were military people. I jumped over the fence and ran into the bushes. As I got into the bushes, I spent the night in the bush. Fortunately, my phone was on me. It's my wife that called, because I could not call because I never knew if they were still there. It's my wife that called, and I told her where I was, and she came and met me. She told me, when she came, she told me the way she's seeing this situation is like somebody, they have really earmarked you, and it will be better you leave the town. That is how I left. I left not knowing how to go. I knew that I was just going to go and get missing. But when I struggled and had a car, after some days, after some days I left for the Francophone part of the country, where the economic capital of my country, because I knew that so many Anglophones have run and gone there. So everybody was concentrating there. So I knew that when I get there, it will be difficult for the government for those military people to spot me out. So fortunately for me, when I got there, in the course of discussing with some people, when I told my story to somebody, the person told me he is almost in that type of a situation, and this is his program. That the family has one of his aunties has earmarked that he has disclosed a roadmap to him that he should get out of the country. And when he told me that, I told him I am that interested. And that is how I got into this program of going out, because I knew nothing about it. So through him, he followed everything for me. Even though we were that casual, I cannot still spot him out. I did not get much about him. We were concentrated on how I can go out, and he followed everything for me until I left Cameroon.
What path did you take to get to the United States or to Mexico?
I left Cameroon, and I used the plane, because I passed through Kigali, Rwanda. From there I got to South Africa, Johannesburg, then to Brazil, then to Peru, and then to Ecuador. From Ecuador, I started tracing my way out, because I tried to inquire how to get out of Ecuador. And those that I met are those that I told them that I want to get to this place. How can I get there? I want to get to America, and I don't have money or any money to follow up legally. So they told me, you can take a bus from Casilin, Quito, and then from there you get to Colombia. That is how I started tracing my way. Where I left Ecuador, got to Colombia. From there, there was a part of Colombia that I got there. They would call it Tubo. When I got to Tubo, I met one guy who arranged for a boat. The boat took me to Capogana. Capogana is still part of Colombia. From Capogana, they got me to the entrance to the jungle, the forest. That's the Panama forest. That is how I followed the forest, because along the line I met so many other people on the way in the boat. In that boat, that's how I moved with those people until I got here. So when we got through the forest, which was not easy, it's a dreadful forest. After trekking, moving in water and climbing up mountains and descending, we finally, by the grace of God, succeeded to go through. So the first place that after the forest, we got to a camp, the first camp in Panama. We got to the first camp, we met the immigration police, and then we met a night in that camp, because we were not even provided food. They said they don't have food, and then where we slept on planks in that camp. So fortunately for us, as we slept one night, the following morning they told us that they were going to transfer us to the second camp, and they asked for $20. We paid the $20 that they said the $20 was to pay the boatman who was going to transport us through the rivers to the second camp, Penita camp in Pana. That's the second camp is called Penita camp. So that's how we got to the Penita camp. When we dropped from the boat, it's the military, the Panama military that came and collected us to the second camp. From the second camp, we spent 2 nights after they have processed some documents and then told us that they were going to transfer us to the Costa Rican immigration. So they asked for $40. We paid each person, we all paid $40 for our transportation. That's how we got to Costa Rica. We were transferred to the Costa Rican immigration, and then they processed their own documents and then took us to a camp. We spent just a night. We spent a night and then we were given some documents. Those documents were going to facilitate our movement. So we were left on our own to pay they did not ask for transport, but we were the ones to pay the transport because we were supposed to, the second camp is at Rio Claro. So to move from the camp to northern Costa Rica, we were supposed to pass through the capital city that is called San Jose. So we took a bus from Rio Claro to San Jose, and from San Jose to La Cruz. When we got to La Cruz, the journey was supposed to continue through the waters, the Pacific Ocean. So we were asked to pay $350 in order to get through. So that night, we paid each person paid $350, and we were transported through the Pacific Ocean, which was hell, because it was a total risk. It's just by the grace of God that we went through. The Pacific Ocean is that violent. The waves are violent, turbulent. The wind and everything is turbulent. So by the grace of God, we succeeded to go through the Pacific Ocean. And then from there, we moved, and because at the shore, we were dropped at the border of Nicaragua. So we moved that night into the forest. I moved barefooted. Thorns entered my legs. So when they crossed us through the forest, we got to the highways. There were some 2 hillocks. I don't know how they arranged the hillocks, but we were told to get into the hillocks that very early morning in Nicaragua. So from the speed that those guys were running, I realized that it was like they wanted to get us out of Nicaragua before it was done. So in the course of that, they struggled with all that speed, because the speed was such that if something had happened with that car, nobody would come out alive. And we were covered with wrappings, black wrappings. We were not even seeing what was happening, but we were inside we were at the boot of the hillocks, covered with black wrappings. But you could only imagine the speed. It was almost flying in the air rather than rolling on the ground. So they went like this. They speed with us like that till a certain point when we only realized that they entered with us somewhere. So when we sat, those drivers did not allow us to even peep outside. Even to peep outside, we were not allowed to peep outside. So we sat in that boat. I only realized that I was behind some houses when we were told that police, people should run, and then they opened the wrappings and we jumped out of the boot of the hillocks, and everybody was struggling to pick the luggage and run. Unfortunately for us, there was a back wire surrounding that area. So the first difficulty that we had was to cross the back wire before you get to the field where you could run. Fortunately for me, I went through the back wire. But in the course of that, I felt terribly. This is a scar of it. I felt, because we were just about 10 minutes to get out of Nicaragua when they caught, when the policemen, when I got, as we were running, I got numerous gunshots. As I turned behind, as I turned to look if my other colleagues or my other brothers were, those that we were together, the other passengers were running, I only saw people on the ground. So for me, I thought they have shot those people. So I decided that I should, because when I felt and got up, I could not speak again because I already had a problem with my knee. So when I turned and saw people on the ground, I thought maybe they have shot them because the police people were too close to me. So I said, no, I should not continue to run. They can shoot me. Maybe I'm just fortunate to be alive. Not knowing that those people fell on the ground because they were afraid of the gunshot. So we were caught by the Nicaragua police officers, and we were taken back to the police station. There at the police station, we left, that was very early on that day, very early in the morning, but finally we left that place almost in the night. After they have told us that if we want to continue our journey, or if we want to be released from here, they did not say they did not tell us if they did not tell us that if you want to continue your journey or you want to go back. They said if we want to be released from here, each person has to pay the sum of $150. You bear yourself with $150 before you are released from there. So some of us hadn't money, some people had it. But those who had money, they met it in such a way that they grouped us, Africans and whites. So they collected our bags. They called us each one by one, and you were taken to a room where they search you. They search all over your body. They search your back, and whatever thing that they see as money, they collect. So some people were holding money, some were not. So in order to get their $150, they said they will group all of us, and those that have much money, the $150 will be withdrawn from them. That those that did not have, you will look for another way to pay back the money to the person that had. So they collected the money, and then at the end of the day, that was at night, they released us and told us that they will take us to their immigration, and the immigration will process our documents, and we will leave Nicaragua. That is how we got out of Nicaragua. We got out of Nicaragua. When we got to the immigration, we thought that they were going to carry us and cross us. They were going to look for a bus to take us out of Nicaragua. But after they went through the documents, they took us somewhere in that night and told us to continue our journey. That was still in mud, in the forest. So we continued as we left like that, we met some few agents. They asked for $20. We paid the $20 and they took us across. A very short journey, they collected $20 from us and took us across into Honduras. So we went to Honduras, to the Honduras immigration, and then we were transferred. We went to the immigration at the frontier. We were transferred to the main immigration office, and then they processed some documents. We spent about 2 nights in Honduras, and then left to the northern part of Honduras toward Guatemala. But it was hell, because even with the documents that they processed, after processing the documents, they didn't give us copies of those documents, because we were disturbed all along the night by the Honduras police. Even though we told them that we were even having the fingerprints, the inks on our fingers that we used in putting our fingerprints on some of the documents, but they never believed us. So when we got to a certain level, to a certain distance in Honduras, we went to a police checkpoint where they dropped us from our bus. They dropped all Africans from the bus and then told the bus to continue with their citizens, with the citizens of Honduras. So we had to continue with the journey on foot along the highway. We trekked until Guatemala. where we still met the Honduras police at the frontier. They blocked us. At the end of the day, we were supposed to, we paid money for an agent to cross us through the bushes. That is how we got into Guatemala, and then from Guatemala, we entered into Mexico, Tapachula, and then we were taken to the camp. We stayed in the camp. Before getting into the camp in Mexico, they collected $100 from us. Because when they came with the issue of the $100, they said, any person that pays the $100, you will have just about 3 days in the camp. So we were happy, we were paying the money happily because we never wanted somebody to delay us. Unfortunately for us, when we got into the camp, it was not the case. It was a lie. They just collected. It's not even the immigration that collected the money, but from the story, we realized that it was with the complicity of the immigration. It's like the immigration in Tapachula had left some people in the quarters. Therefore, you go to a particular hotel, you are told to pay the $100. When you pay the $100, it's a backdoor game. They come behind, the immigration car, bus, comes in the quarter and collects you people. If you go to the gates of the immigration, they will not take you. They'll tell you to go, they don't know you. Until you go back to the hotel, into the quarters, that's when the immigration car comes. And then when you pay the money, you get into the car. So there's a game between the immigration and the owners of those hotels and restaurants. So when they come behind, they collect the money and then do whatever thing that they want to do with. So when we were deceived to pay those monies, thinking that, because they gave the story that we were going to stay in the camp only for 3 days. But unfortunately for us, we met, because we were even told that we have to make 15 days and 30 days or 3 months in the camp before leaving. It is until when we revolted, we made a peaceful strike, we refused to eat, that they allowed us to, they gave us our documents and told us to continue our journey. So when we left Tapachula, some people were going to Tijuana. Some people were going to different directions, because everybody thought that if I get to this place, I will quickly get to the American camp. So for us, we decided that we would go to Nuevo Laredo. So we went to Laredo with the hope that we were going to cross easily to get easily into America. But we met our doom, because that morning when we got there, we got to Laredo, slept a night in the hotel, and got up very early. So when we got into the immigration, we were already told that when you get there, you just continue to the bridge. When you continue to the bridge, you will meet the American police, and they will obviously arrange for you a bus to go through. And that is what happened. We went past the immigration office, got to the bridge. We went to the point of meeting the American police on duty. So they asked where we were coming from. We said we were coming from Cameroon. They collected, they said, okay, we should stand. We stood there for some time. We stood there for about 30 minutes. But unfortunately for us, the Mexican immigration came and collected us. As they collected us, they took us to the office. When they took us to the office, they asked if we were having documents. We said, yes, we have our documents. They collected the documents. It's like they collected the documents, went and photocopied the documents, and then gave us our copies. We held the copies. We stood there. They told us to stand under the sun. We stood there for a length of time. Later on, one of the immigration officers came and told us to go to the other office. We went there. No, we stood there. Nobody was talking. Nobody was talking because they asked us if we could express in Spanish. We said no. We can only express ourselves in English. They abandoned us. We went to the office, sat on the chairs. We sat in the office for a length of time. Nobody was attending to us. Out of a sudden, one officer came and met us and tried to explain in English. The officer, an elderly officer, we never knew that the man could even talk the English the way he spoke, because he was perfect in English, but he just decided to abandon us in that office. We sat there. The man told us that it's like this. There's a procedure. When you come here, you have to pass through the immigration because some other people are ahead of you and you have to follow the procedure. So with that situation, they are going to send us to the church. We will be in the church for 3 days before they will see what they can do. We accepted, we followed. They sent a bus and we were collected in the bus. They took us to the church. But in the church, we met a different story. When they took us to the church, they made us to understand that the bridge has been blocked. That we were going to stay there for three months, in the church for 3 months. Else they will carry us to another camp, whether Pedra Negras or what camp. And then that the camp at Laredo, the American camp that you pass through Laredo to get there, is blocked. So there is no way for us. So we just have to abide by what they have said. We said, no, that is not what the immigration told us. We have to go back to the immigration. When we insisted, since we are new in Mexico, we could not find our way through. We stood under the sun for hours. There were some good Samaritans who came and met us and tried to talk with us. Some even proposed that they will prepare food and come and give us. We stood there for a long time. One other good Samaritan, we all agreed that he said he knows that we are not used to the food here, but he knows the type of food that he can prepare. What can he prepare for us? We said we can eat rice. He said, okay, he's going to prepare the rice. We stood there for hours waiting for him to come with the rice. He was not coming. So some other person came and we tried to ask our way out. He said we should follow a street and then we will meet another street where we can stand there and take a bus. So we went up and collected the bus. Even along the line, as we were taking the bus, it's just by God's grace that the bus came in. As that bus was coming, there was another car that was coming just behind the bus. They saw us, and when the car came toward us, it slowed down. We saw how they lowered the window of the back cabin of the car. All those who were behind the car were masked. We only saw how they pulled out their guns like that. So we understood that they were armed robbers. But fortunately, the bus was in front of us. We got into the bus. That's how we were safe. Because along the line, we met some Hondurans who told us that they have been attacked in Laredo. They attacked them and collected all their monies. That was in the evening, the evening of that very day when we were taking off to come this way, when we were at the terminal to take a bus to Monterrey, to come back this way after we have been frustrated. So when we left that church and went back to the immigration, we went and were stubborn and decided to go through the immigration again. But it's like the Mexican military realized that we came back again. It's like they told them that if they see any black around here, they should inform them. So when they informed them, they came and collected us and they started threatening us. They said, if we continue like this, they will snap our pictures and send to the American immigration, and they will not allow us to get into America. That's how we decided to leave Laredo. So we left Laredo that evening. We went to the terminal, took a bus for Monterrey, and then Monterrey to Matamoros. When we got to Matamoros that morning, that was Sunday morning, we went. We said we were going to the immigration. We took a taxi. We bought a taxi, got to the immigration, we dropped, and then decided that we will follow our normal procedure. We went past the immigration here in Matamoros, went to the bridge, went until we met the American police again. They asked where we were coming from. We told them the same story, that we were from Cameroon. They asked if we were having our papers. We said, yes, we have our papers. They said, okay, we should stand. I saw how the American police he turned his walking, talking, and was communicating somewhere. We were getting, because we were so close to them at that bridge. From the discussion, I heard as the man was saying that these are some Cameroonians. We have received some people here. They said they are from Cameroon, and they asked how many of them are there. They said they are 6. They said they said they are refugees from Cameroon. They said they should wait on the gate. They are going to send a bus. That was a communication between the police the American police on duty and the American immigration. They said they should wait. The Cuban girl automatically went back to the immigration. When she got to the immigration, it was not long. The Mexican immigration came in and told us to follow them. That is how we lose our opportunity, just because I want to think that it's just because we are blacks. And that is how we have been here till today, because the day we came in, the immigration told us that there is no space at the immigration office there, and there's a procedure. They took our names on that Sunday, that there's a procedure. We will be here for 15 days before they will cross us. But our problem now is that we have been here this is the 4th day. We have our sisters that we met here. They are almost, the 15 days is already elapsing. And then we have been monitoring the environment. Since we came in here, it's just yesterday that they came and collected some people. We don't even know where they took the people to, but we know that they have been taken to America, because they never wanted to disclose to us that they are taking these people to America, because they know that we will feel bad. So I feel very bad, because we the blacks, we want to think that we don't have somebody to talk on our behalf here. And they don't know, as migrants, there are different types of migrants. We are really, those of us from Cameroon, we are really refugees, because the situation, the circumstances that has made us to leave our country is not the same circumstances that has made these whites to leave their country. So we want to think that as blacks and as Cameroonians, we are lost, because nobody wants to know our story. Nobody wants to know where we are coming from, and nobody wants to help us.
So why the United States? Of all the countries in the world, why the United States?
We took United States. Let me tell you a story. At this very point in time, the Southern Cameroon has a government, even though not yet recognized. There are leaders. But it all happened that some of our leaders have been incarcerated. They are in the keeping in the cells in Southern by the Cameroon government. Do you know how they came about to be in those cells? The leader, the president of Southern Cameroon, presently is in prison in Kondengé, in Cameroon. This is somebody who was kidnapped from Nigeria. And taken back to Cameroon. Cameroon and Nigeria does not have any extradition treaty, that in case you cause a problem here and enter into Nigeria, Cameroon government does not have any law, any right to come and take you from Nigeria back to Cameroon. They don't have any treaty that binds them as far as those issues are concerned. But if our leader has been taken from Nigeria without those treaties, without any extradition treaty, it means there is no law in Africa. So we thought that America alone is a land of liberty. That's where democracy reigns. That's where people's rights are respected. We thought that going to America is the only safe place where we can be understood, where we can be kept away from the negativity of the president of Cameroon. That is the only place where we can have our security. As I am talking with you here, I am not sure of my security here. In this very Mexico, I'm not sure of my security. So if the president of Southern Cameroon is arrested in a foreign land and transported back to Cameroon and kept into the prisons without any extradition treaty between the two countries, then you can understand that we are not safe in any part of this world except America, because we believe that America is that country that respects human rights, and America is the only country that can maintain our security, our security is on the right path if we are there.
Is there anything else you'd just like to add that I haven't asked or you haven't shared?
I just want to, what I want to say, I'm not happy. What I want to say is that where I am very, very frustrated, and I want you people, I want the world to understand. I want the American immigration to understand, the Mexican immigration to understand that there are some group of people, there are some people from Cameroon who are suffering and they have to be listened to. If they don't come to our aid, it means they have contributed to frustrate us, like what Paul Biya, the president of Cameroon, has done to us. As I talk to you right now, they are shooting. People are dying in numbers. People are dying. People are dying every day, every minute. Every minute people are falling as we speak. Yes. It's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. It's really sad. And I don't feel fine being here. I feel frustrated. I am disturbed in the mind. I am disturbed in the mind. I am not myself. I am not myself at all.
No, but I don't think anyone can blame you. I mean, you've been through a lot.
It's sad. It's sad.
I think that's it. Thank you.